Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming back to season 5 of Think Theo. And today we're talking to somebody that we talked to in season 3, maybe season 2, Lea Sullivan. She is a dear friend. I want to say lifelong friend, but I can't because we haven't known each other our whole lives, but I feel like we have. But she is an American Sign Language teacher, educator, and expert, and she's going to talk to us today about what that's like and how it is at the school where she teaches and how students respond to it and how much she enjoys what she does. And I'm just going to not take up much more of our time and start letting Lea tell you about Lea. Thank you, Lea.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's kind of
Good.
cool today for
It
Texas
is.
weather.
Hello. Very unusual. Very unusual.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, we met in high school. I was teaching high school English, and Leah was teaching sign language. And we were in the break room, and we met each other. And Lee's hearing loss is almost identical to my mom's hearing loss, and we just hit it off. And not only does she have almost identical hearing loss as my mom, she looks like my mom. And I mean, y'all favor so much.
Right.
So we've just been friends ever since and making new friends along the way, like Lindsay Dane that we talked to last week, and I had her on the podcast. Y'all are gonna be a great force together.
Yes, I look forward to it. Yes.
What's it like on the first couple of days of your class? Do do they even know what they signed up for?
Well, that's usually the first question I ask on the first day of school, especially for level one. I teach level one and two. And so level one, when they're coming in, they're very extra quiet, which, for ASL you want that, but more out of curiosity, fear, not knowing what to expect. And so I ask them often, why did you sign up for ASL? And before I even explain who I am, because they first start hearing my voice and realize, oh, she can't hear, or there's something different. And so most of the time, the kids would say they watch a TV show with somebody who's deaf, or they may even have a family member that is deaf and they want to connect better with them. And there are also some other ones that just curiosity, didn't want to take the other languages that are available, something different. And so then after I share with them about my life and being born with a twin sister who is hearing, and age 3, my parents finding out I'm deaf, and the struggles along the way and so forth, they start to ask more questions. And so it begins a sweet relationship with the kids because they start to connect not only with the language that they're learning, but with how could they make a difference for somebody else out in the community. And so because it becomes more than just the language and communicating in that language, they will tell me later on how, oh, at work I met so and so who is deaf and we finger spelled together, and I will ask him, well, how did that person respond? They said they lit up, their eyes get big because they have somebody that they can connect with out other than writing back and forth. And so that's my goal when I teach them is that they take it with them outside of the walls of the classroom and use it in the community.
That's
So,
so do you that made me think of two things.
mhm.
You ever have a student that just signed up because they didn't want to take the other and they don't really care, but they end up loving it so much that they do something with it?
Well, I actually have had some students that uh, I would say are more on the difficult side. The more they come in with an attitude, or I signed up for this because my parents told me I had to. And so they don't really want to be there. But I realize that's my assignment. That's who I'm supposed to really work closely with. And I don't know that they've used it as far as in the careers or became a like an interpreter or something like that, but I know that they took it with them because there was one student who at the end of the year or in the middle of the year a few years ago, this was around COVID time when things were tough and kids were just really struggling. And so I wrote a point out of a little paper that said, I love you, and said, you are worth it. And so I gave it to all the students. And that one student, the other ones, who knows, they could have thrown it away, they lost it or something. On the last day of school, he pulled it out of his backpack and showed it to me.
Oh
And
my God.
um, I knew that I had made an impact on that student and that he was going to use it somewhere and somehow. And so I do have other students that have gone on to be speech pathologists or deaf ed teachers or ASL interpreters, and I stay in touch with them, and it's just wonderful being able to connect and see how they take it further. So
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
it is.
I know I remember being a teacher, and if you had that one kid that kept something,
Mhm.
and that's what we do it for.
Yes, yes, is to help them carry it beyond what they've learned and even go further with Uh, because in the ASL 1 and 2, you're just learning the basics. And then if they choose to use it in college and or take it up in other classes there, they're investing more into the
Right.
culture and language. So,
Right. Have you ever thought about, because Lindsay brought this up last week, have you ever thought about, or have any of the other teachers in your school, like during STAR testing when it's supposed to be very quiet, using sign language for sit down or just a minute or bathroom, or using sign language during STAR?
no, I have not. Not at the high school level. Now, I taught in elementary for special education before, and I would do the sit and be quiet and um, wait a minute or hold on, those things. Now, I don't really particularly help with the STAR EOC STAR testing at this time because it's too difficult for me to hear and to be able to connect with students that don't know me. And so
Right.
I typically stay away from that, but that is a absolutely good idea. Yes.
Yes, if you could educate all of the district
Mhm.
instructors, and if
Yes.
they could teach their students, this is the sign for just a minute, we won't be talking, you know.
Right. All of those make it less stressful for the facilitators along with the student taking the test. So,
Yeah, because I remember having to go up to a student and they whisper to me and I have to whisper to them, and it's too hard.
yeah,
When, when really we could have just like done some signs. And anyway, I think sign language is so beautiful.
it is. It is. There are some words that aren't so beautiful. Sometimes we forget. Just this last fall, I was asked to be interviewed for an article in the newspaper, local newspaper of Waxahachie.
Oh,
So we talked about why I sang at church, and it is my second language, and it helped me to worship the Lord by using sign. And of course, that is beautiful. And but there's also just like any other language, ASL is it has its words, just like English has its words. And so I try to help educate people that ASL is just a replacement of voice. It's a language to replace voice because we don't hear it, and most deaf people don't speak because they have difficulty hearing themselves speak. So,
mm, okay.
oh, I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's kind of a interesting statement, but sometimes people forget. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of stories, about Mama, but I'm not going to share them because this is your time. But one, just real quick, goes along with what you're saying. Mama, when we would be in church, she would never sing. And I remember being little and looking up at her. I remember it. And I said, "Why don't you sing? Why are you not singing?" You know, like a little kid would do.
Yes.
She tried, and it didn't sound, she was just talking. And I said, "You're not singing." I remember I was so little. I didn't know. And then later I realized she said, "Mama just can't sing good." And so she would follow along in the hymn book with her finger, and she would read Daddy's lips because he was the song leader, and
Mhm.
she'd follow along. So I just kind of learned to follow along. And then later, as I got older, an adult, and I said, "Mama, I don't sing either."
Yeah,
I'm not a singer either. But
but in my car, I will sing as loud as I'll get out. But at church, because we're following the worship leader, I'm often staring at their lips and signing at the same time. I've had an interpreter in the past, but I don't have one currently, and that's okay. But I'm constantly watching their lips. So no, I do not sing because I could be completely off, and I don't want the people sitting around me, well, you know. So
well, do you sign at church?
I do. I do. I sit in the front row and I had them the ushers, I guess you would say, give me a VIP seating. So it's reserved for me so that when I come to church I automatically have a front row seat. So I can
Oh,
watch them and read their lips and so forth. Yeah, it's
that's wonderful.
really has.
Well, let's spend a little bit of time in church. What is your faith, and how has that helped you in certain times?
Well, I am a believer. I'm a Christian, and I attend the Avenue Church in Waxahachie, and have been involved with greeting people at the doors. And that's one of my favorite things is to just love on the kids and the parents who are coming in. And I became a believer in about 1997, and before that. I was going to church, but did not really fully understand. And it was really important to me because it helped me to accept who I am as a woman who can't hear. And for a long time, I did not accept my deafness. And I grew up just speaking and later on in life learned ASL. And so that my relationship with God has carried me through a lot of heartaches, has carried me through a most recent heartache. And without him, I could not be doing what I am doing today. He is my reason for everything. And I definitely um, give him all the glory. Recently, I've just got new hearing aids, and these hearing aids are unbelievable because if it had been last year, you and I probably would not have been able to do this Zoom. I am able to hear well with the hearing aids. It's interesting when I take them off, I hear nothing, but with them on, I can hear pretty well. And so I'm grateful for technology and the advancement with captioning, with Instagram and Facebook now have captions, and YouTube. Everything has become easier access to the language for the deaf community. And so
Wow.
I God thanks for that. So
Wow. Do your hearing aids connect to your phone immediately?
yes, yes, I've been walking and listening to music, and I tell people that you guys have to put in the AirPods I already have built in. So I'm grateful for that. It's been amazing, amazing.
Yeah. My boyfriend, Ronnie
Yeah.
Joe, he has hearing aids just like that. And he's always and I'll say, I'm gonna let you go because my arm hurts. And he goes, "Oh, I forgot. I don't have to do that."
Exactly. That's so right. Yes. It's wonderful. I could be in another room with my phone somewhere else and still talking to somebody. It's unbelievable. Elect
Yeah, that is amazing.
yes,
Well, so I was going to ask you something else about that. Do you well, and then I had another question about your cards that you paint. You're not only an ASL master, you are a painter.
yes,
Well, we could
yes.
talk about those for a minute. Are you still doing those?
I am. This last year, my mom and I started painting greeting cards. It started out with somebody's daughter was doing that, and I thought, oh, that'd be wonderful because my mom used to paint all the time, and she's currently taking care of my dad. And with the summer being off, I thought, what a great way for us to spend time together in doing what we both love to do, drawing and paint. And it started off just, let's just have fun. And then I thought, well, what if we did more than that? What if we made a difference in somebody else's life by they give a call to other people? And so it started off being something small, and it still is. It's just a side gig, but we love doing it. This last Valentine's, instead of selling the cards, we decided to give cards to a nursing home, to people who did not have people coming into their lives and checking on them. And we did find out that there are a lot of people that unfortunately are alone in the little rooms and heartbreaking. And so we didn't get to meet the individuals, but they said that it did impact them. And so I'm grateful that we took our gift that God has given us to bring light into somebody else's life. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to paint with my mom, and we're sitting around a card table and just laugh and giggle, and sometimes we'll stop and have heartfelt conversations. And so she is the reason I am who I am today. When they found out I am deaf at age 3, she started taking me to speech therapy at Baylor University, and they still do have a program there, and we went there every day. I can't remember. It maybe felt like 2 to 3 hours, but it may have been on 30 minutes. But every day until I was 8, and then we moved to um, Clifton, where I grew up, Clifton, Texas. And so she worked with me constantly and was determined I was going to be an independent woman and be a woman of God. And so I'm very grateful for all that she done. So for that reason, this is our time that I can give back to her, to spend time with her and paint with her and just embrace every moment.
Do you sell those cards still now?
Yes, we do. We
Okay.
just started, actually posted yesterday, and that we celebrate a 1 year anniversary, I guess you would call it. And it's not really a business. We don't have a name or anything like that. We're just doing it for people that would like to have it. So,
Yeah, well, I will put that in the notes for this podcast for ways that you can reach Lee if you're interested in those cards because I bought some last year and I love them. They're so cute. I just love stationery, so I just have those in my collection. I love them.
okay.
So, I want to talk about something that just kind of came to me, and I know Mama would have loved to have talked about this. What is it like? And you're gonna say, where do I start? What is it like a daily life of a deaf person in a world that hears everything? So, like, I remember going through a drive-through window like McDonald's or Wendy's, and Mama would be driving, but she would ask me to order and listen because she couldn't hear them. And then I thought, when I grow up and leave home, who's going to do that for Mama? And so she's going to have to go inside. She can't go through the drive-through. Or when she's in the grocery store and she's got somebody behind her. I remember one man got upset because my mom didn't respond to him, but she said, I never heard you. I don't hear. Because he kept saying, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. And he thought my mom was ignoring him.
Right.
And so that got a little like almost a little fight in the grocery store. And she said, I just don't hear you. I'm sorry. But what's it like? Tell me some experiences or ways that we that hear can be better.
Well, you pretty much covered a lot of experiences that I've had. And even with these hearing aids, they are very helpful, but the connecting with the phone is because it's directly in my ear. But just the other day, my son and I went through a drive-through, and he had to order because it's too hard to hear on that. And so there are times that people will look at me differently and wonder, why do you speak that way? And sometimes they may have comments that aren't so nice. And I used to come back with not so nice messages myself. However, I realized in order to spread awareness, you have to start with grace and give them grace and then explain why. And sometimes out of fear, like with your mom being in the grocery store and somebody just being very mm, disruptive with their behavior, you kind of react, and that's only human. And so there have been times I can't think of any at that moment, but there was one that I just recently remembered, and it was at a tire and battery store when my boys were little. And I had to replace some tires. I think I can't remember if it was tires or battery. And he had said something to me, came back to me to tell me what was wrong, but I couldn't understand him. I said, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What are you saying? So he started mocking me and started doing fake signing. And the people around him laughed, and my boys were little. I was very embarrassed, and I didn't even know how to respond. I don't think I responded in the moment other than go to the bathroom with the boys, and I just grabbed some paper towels and started wiping my face in the corner because I didn't want them to see me crying. And when we went back home, I explained to them what he did was not nice. And we do not talk to people that way. So I did go back. I wrote a card and gave it to him and said, basically, what you did was inappropriate. There are other people like me, and you should not talk to them that way. I don't know what he took with that, but and with that being said, it doesn't happen every day with people being rude, but there are times that I wonder, am I not hearing something that other people are hearing? It could be an alarm, or it could be footsteps. It could be, there's lots of sounds that hearing people, we say hearing people, people that can hear, are able to be aware of their surroundings than a deaf person or hard of hearing person.
I
So,
I feel that. I feel that all the time because I felt like I was the ears for my mom.
yes,
And then when I left home, I was so worried. I was like, how's, and my mom's like, I'm fine. I know how to take care of myself.
exactly.
And
We learn to do without. We learn to accommodate. And so I do have my wonderful dog who's in the other room. He's doing good. He's not hearing my voice and barking. But he really helps me to hear when somebody's at the door and knocking on the door, or if there's other sounds outside that I may not hear. And he'll bark and look at me. He'll even look at me to see, do you hear that? So I believe my dog has learned that there are sounds that I don't hear. He's not trained, but he's trained through me, I guess you would say.
he
And
is he is trained through you. That's amazing. I just remember all the things, when I'm just curious, I have to ask you, when your boys were babies,
Mhm.
did you stay awake a lot because you weren't
I
worried?
I did. So I think they just started coming out with all the little TVs where you could connect with a monitor. And so my mom had bought me, or my parents bought me a monitor. I stared at that monitor all night long, wondering. Then I figured out that the light that come across, because it was also lights with little dots. If it was slow, that they would either be just babbling or just waking up or another moving around. But if it was fast, then I knew, oh goodness, he needs me. And so, but I can't see that when my eyes are closed. And so I would wake up constantly wondering. And for a while, they both slept in the same room with us because I didn't want to be away until I felt comfortable.
Yeah, Mama
Mom
said,
did the same thing.
yeah, she watched me. She was afraid I'd stop breathing. She would go to sleep with the bassinet right by the bed and her hand on my chest so
Oh,
she could feel.
yeah, I did that too. I did that too because y'all can hear the breathing. So I would just put my hand and go, okay. Oh,
Yes,
that's
I was.
interesting.
I just wanted to know that. Well, we've only got about, excuse me, 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, and I wanted, gosh, I wanted to have you talk to the people out there that are listening, and maybe they've got children in school, and tell them why they should consider taking American Sign Language, because I know it's not just teaching sign, it's teaching better communication, it's teaching better awareness, because those students that have been in your class, I don't think they're going to be like the man at the grocery store with my mom. I
Right,
think they're going to be aware, hey, maybe they can't hear me.
right.
And so tell people out there, you've got let's say 3 minutes to tell people why they should take sign language, even if you're not in school, maybe as adults. Why should you go take a sign language class?
I think, definitely ASL was developed or became a language for the deaf and hard of hearing community. And it not only helped the deaf and hard of hearing community, but it also can help people who have lost their voice for whatever reason. The voice isn't working, or they've had a stroke, or they the memory is not great with being able to connect from here to the voice, but for some reason the use of their hands they can communicate better. So ASL is a language that can be used for multiple reasons, multiple categories of needs. And I think it's important, especially even little children, to learn it because it helps with the development of the vocabulary. And for children who are deaf and hard of hearing, I believe they should learn ASL. If they choose to do both speech and ASL, they're going to get the full asset of language. Because speaking, just because I can speak, doesn't mean that I'm hearing all the words that have been said. So as a little girl, I was missing out on a lot of vocabulary. But if you have that supplement or support of ASL, then you're going to get a lot more around because a lot of vocabulary is just picked up from hearing, listening to other people, reading a book or watching a movie. And so ASL is just a language that is just beneficial for everyone.
And just like captioning. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, everybody. That's my dog.
Oh,
Just like captioning is so good for children to read while they're hearing,
right.
because they're learning letters and words, sentences. And so ASL is just like another language. So you speak two languages. If
Hmm.
you've got ASL and your English language or whatever language you have. And I just think it's beautiful. I always wanted to do sign language. I wanted to do sign language for a song that I thought was so pretty. I think songs are so beautiful, but for all the people watching this podcast on YouTube, what sign something for us that you want to say, and then after you sign, tell us what you said.
Okay. On the spot, okay. Uh,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. I can think of something right now. So, and I said, "You are amazing. God loves you."
Oh, I need to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
I would apply to you too. Miss me,
You know, I used to get this all mixed up because I thought it was the University of Texas.
yes, all up there. But this is the I, the letter I
Okay.
for love, and then the Y for you. So I love you, and it's put together all in one sign.
Okay. I love
You,
you.
Y, and then put together for I love you.
You just taught me that. Oh, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on my podcast again. I've had about 3 years off and I'm starting it back up, but you were the first person I thought of. I wanted to get back on here.
I'm excited. This is great. And you're doing fantastic with your books, and look forward to reading the next book that you have. It should
Thank
be
you. And I look forward to things that you have planned. And I can't wait to see you next month here at my house. I'm very excited.
right.
And
Yes.
everybody out there, this is Lea Sullivan. She's American Sign Language teacher. She does stationery. She also would talk to you if you wanted some private American Sign Language lessons and if you wanted to do that. And are you able to do those on Zoom?
I can. I can do it in Zoom. Some people prefer in person, but if for some reason the people are further out, then Zoom will work just fine as well.
Okay, and I'm going to put all her information in the comments. And thank y'all so much. And Lee, I love you. Oh,
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody. Thanks for tuning
Bye.
in.